Billie PN. How are you doing?
Mate, I'm really well. I'm good. All things considered, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, you know. Do you know what? I just want to say straight off the back, thank you very much for coming on and doing this with me. This is really good fun.
Stop. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Honestly, it's really good fun. I think we're going to have a good couple of episodes. We're doing part 3 and part 4 with yours truly. So if anyone listening had the chance to listen to part 1 and part 2 of the recap, you will know roughly the kind of format that we're going to do here. Essentially,
big shoes to fill for me.
Big shoes to fill. We had A's on before. No pressure. No worries. But so essentially, we're going to listen to one of the poems from each episode, from episode 10 to 19. And they're going to be either the first or the second poem. Now, the reason why that is because the third poem is already up in video format on YouTube and IGTV, so you can go and enjoy it there. So this is a chance for you to kind of recap, go through some of the other episodes. Maybe if you're new to the show now, you can listen to it and be like, oh, I want to go back and listen to that episode. So that's the idea.
That was good. Maybe I like this poetry stuff.
Exactly. So I got Billie PN down to join me, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, straight up, Billie, before we go into our first poem, how are you doing? What's up?
Mate, I mean, look, I tried to cut myself a fringe in week 1, so I'm obviously coping really well. I'm sort of just slowly creeping around my house, finding small things to do so I don't go slowly insane. And It's not working. So, you know, we'll see what I'm like when this is all over. But for now, it's not looking great. How are you?
I'm all right, you know, I think I'm vaguely coping. You know, we're doing this via other memes which we wouldn't normally have done. Everything's kind of shifting a bit, aren't we? We're learning new skills. Let's put it like that. Yes,
the digital age has truly come for our asses.
We better brush up. Yeah, it's I think it's a weird time, right? But I think it brings out the best and the worst in people. Yeah. And I try to focus on the best.
Me too, man. That's a really nice way to look at things, focusing on the best. I'm going to try that. I'll try that.
Give it a crack. Okay, cool. So let's have a little chat about Kyla Winter. So this was episode 10, and Kyla came onto the show. Now, she was a wonderful guest. She was such a lovely person. I met her at Chocolate Poetry Club, which is where I met you as well.
The place where all great poets meet, it
where
seems.
I met literally everyone.
All the stories start with, so we met at Chocolate Poetry Club.
They do. It's actually it's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? But so we met there, and I think she might have performed this piece. Yeah, in fact, she did perform this piece. And it was wonderful. And I actually thought that you have a piece which is relatively similar to this one, don't you? Called The Commandments of Women.
I do have one called The Commandments of Women. I think Kyla does it in a really interesting way, in that it's like this statement of power. That's what I really loved about it when I listened to it back today before we started recording. I was just I was G'd up, man. I listened to that no one is blocking my blessings. Not today, not ever. I loved that power that she had to it. And her voice is so nice and warm and rich, isn't it? So I think it was a real pleasure actually listening to that again.
No, you're right. Do you know what? I think we're just going to jump on and get straight on into it because I'm excited to hear it. So the first piece we're going to hear on this part 3 recap of season 1 with the lovely Billie PN is Kyla Winter, and this piece is called Public Service Announcement.
Amazing.
Public service announcement. I stay active to combat passive-aggressive behaviour so I can savour the saviour in me, because she was hard to find. Logic, battling creativity combined made me stay on this grind. Hamster wheel turning, guts churning, soul wanting to leap but afraid of the repercussions heaped on me. Mayhap the stats may not apply this time. Can this woman break society's paradigm? Can this artist not be starved? Can this creative space be carved into a niche, rich with satisfaction? Or will I suffer the fate of Nietzsche's eternal return, predestined to stay passive while my soul hungers for ascendant progression, never whole? I stay alert to opportunities hiding around corners, obscured by men in slick suits, a band of corporate marauders who pretend change has happened and all is equal, pay lip service to fairness, their promises are deceitful. Because I still earn fewer pennies on the pound than they, and when the gender pay gap is closed, are you gonna backdate my pay? Nah, I didn't think so. So I do what is necessary. I take my elder millennial mentality and produce side hustles like a baby daddy afraid of long-term monogamy. My manifest destiny calls me onward, and yes, there will be challenges that must be conquered, but wherever I go, I sow seeds of change and leave an orchard in my wake so my sisters can exchange servitude for knowledge, because don't get it twisted, that was Eve's true promise. I stay on my feet making moves like Ali. I float like a butterfly, but I sting like a bee. I learned how to sharpen my mind while on my face I mix a grace with just a trace of a Mona Lisa smile. I learned their tricks, made them think I'm happy with an inch when really I'm here to take the whole damn mile. But still, I've got to stay woke. My consciousness vibrating on high alert. Intuition signals code red when danger is covert. Like when fuckery people come try suck out my soul with their fake camaraderie and dishonest propositions. I will not be a willing victim of societal control. Because they can't touch me. They can't hurt me. Their toxicity slides off of me like oil on Teflon. My soul is non-stick, unconcerned with external bullshit. And I do not have the capacity to carry nonsense burdens on my shoulders when I have mountains to climb. You see, my friends, this isn't arrogance. This is confidence, born to a woman too tired to play out society's subservient fantasies of me because it sees she as a lesser human being. I am not. So you see, I stay active to combat passive-aggressive behaviour so I can nurture the saviour in me and stay ready for a future set with so much uncertainty. Public service announcement.
Yes. She said what she said.
That's a really cool poem, isn't it? It's beautiful.
That's a poem.
That is some words.
Yeah, those are some words that she put together really well in a lyrical format that I think really resonated with me. I don't know that's so good.
Yeah, it is.
Cool,
do you know what?
man.
There's a line where like she says it. She goes, "My soul is non-stick, unconcerned with external bullshit." Love that. Love
yes,
that.
Kyla, tell him. Tell him.
Yeah, when she performs that live, like obviously we just heard the audio and you'll see the video, but she really kind of like puts it into it, you know? It's a very like all-encompassing piece for her, I can see. It's great.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
I love
very
it.
Cool.
Yeah, no, she absolutely nailed it. So yeah, that was episode 10. She was a pleasure to have on to the show. So yeah, shout out to Kyla. She's the wonderful person.
Shout out to Kyla. Yeah, she smashed that.
So before we talk about our next poet, I wanted to kind of briefly speak to you a little bit about how obviously during lockdown, the poetry community has responded to the lack of open mics by having loads of virtual gigs.
What lack of open mics, Henry? There are.
There's like endless amounts. Like whenever you go on your Instagram, like every evening you go on your Instagram, it's so-and-so's live, so-and-so's live. Like
everybody's live.
People are really going for it. What's been your reaction to it?
I have really enjoyed seeing how creatively all of these nights that we love are going about this huge problem for them. I think it's been really good fun seeing all the different formats. I've done a few sort of Instagram lives and people have been partnering with businesses in order to sort of use their platform and the business's platform to sort of collaborate and get out to wider audiences. So I think there's been some really creative problem solving. They can all add that to their CVs because they've absolutely smashed it. I think I've really enjoyed it. Have you been on many? I mean, I've seen you lurking in the comments.
No,
I've been.
Times, so. I'm always lurking in the comments. I've been on a couple. I went on Rebel Soapbox. I went on Trouble Tongues. And
your Trouble Tongue set. Why? I tuned in for that. That was awesome, man. So good.
I did a few. I did quite a vulgar piece on that one.
Some vulgarity was
had. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to remind people that we all have living bodies and we want to put them inside of other people's bodies. So
we do indeed. But I think coming on to Trouble Tongues, that's the one. So Sonny Green, who runs that, has been running something every single night. I think it's over 40, like by the time of recording this, it's like over 40 nights in a row, something silly like that.
40 nights, yeah.
Like it's like Jesus
such an undertaking.
out in the desert. Like what's he been doing?
Out in the poetry desert where no one's allowed to leave their house, but we all come together. Yeah.
It's really impressive though, isn't it? I mean,
It was insanely impressive. Not only that he managed to keep up the feat of endurance that is hosting a poetry night every night of the week, but also what he actually managed to build there, which was a community of people who were showing up every single day, supporting each other. By the end, the slam that they organised was just like the spoken. Everyone was speaking about it on Instagram, and you had hundreds of people tuned in and hundreds of people voting and engaged. It was like, you know, all of that hard work paid off into this huge, amazing celebration of what he'd done. And it was awesome, man.
I just thought, like, I don't think there's anyone that I've seen that has smashed it as much as he has with this kind of virtual scene. And I think what it was really great is, obviously, it allowed us to do something that doesn't really happen. We were popping off to America and then popping back to England, and like poets were coming on to the live stream from all over the world. And you can't get that on open mic, like, you know. You
don't get that at an open mic. And from an accessibility point of view, there are people who can't make it to the scene in London or in Brooklyn or wherever these people are tuning in, or they are, you know, not able for any wealth of reasons make it to these live nights. But giving that point of access and that accessibility is so huge. And so, now that everyone's doing it, you think, I wonder why people weren't doing this before. You know, it's this massive thing that's caused us to sort of reevaluate actually what we want from poetry, and it's so nice to hear all of those different voices. And
do you think therefore that there'll be maybe a space for it after lockdown going forward?
I wonder if they will be. You know, I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are, because in one half of my heart I'm like, yeah man, this is awesome and we'll do this forever, and the other half of me thinks we'll get back to the city and everyone will be already at a night every night of the week, because there is already a night. You know, there are already all these nights. Some very exciting ones probably coming up. I don't know. I've got yet to think about. But you know, you wonder, will they keep up the momentum? What do you think?
Do you know what? I think potentially in some form they might do, and I think the way it might kind of work is actually pretty much how Troubled Tongues did do it. Is actually having a kind of worldwide slam. So like trying to get as many people involved from as many different places, you know, creating that community feel on the Instagram live, like keeping it consistent. I think there's definitely a case for it. Now, obviously at the moment they've got everyone's eyeballs because no one's doing anything. So it might be a bit trickier, right, when people do have the option to either go to a live open mic or, you know, to do something else. But I would like to see it exist in some form still, because I think it adds something which an open mic can't.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. We'll see. I think, you know, Sonny's landed on some gold here, and I think a few other nights have done really well for themselves. So I think it seems sensible to keep going, man.
It does. Okay, so who was in the final? Woodzy, right? So
Woodzy, our very own.
Woodzy was in the final of Troubled Tongues, representing the UK. He did a stellar job, to be fair. It was like...
He smashed it.
Yeah. It's that was an incredible final. Off, you know, just straight off the back. I thought both. So the other poet was, oh my God, what's the name of the other poet? Shez, sorry.
Chev Too Much, I think, is Instagram. Versus Woodzy. Yeah. It was
a battle.
Jinx.
No, but it really was, wasn't
it was crazy, man. It was really, really cool to see two proper titans who are really, really good at their craft just going head to head like that. And honestly, you know, of course, there's the UK bias where everyone's like, yeah, Woodzy. But like, everyone in the comments was having to be like, although Chef did a really good job, just to add, because it seemed like everyone was, it was so hard to be objective, but also just like insane levels of talent.
No, true. And I think, you know, it's definitely something that, as I said, I really hope that it does continue going forward, but we'll have to see. Woodzy just killed it. And I think, lots of people in the kind of comments section were saying, like, do you know what? Actually, both of you deserve this. Like, this can't really be challenged. So, do you know what? I think we should jump on and hear this piece. This is a piece of his called Man Down, which I'm sure you've seen him do live a few times.
I've seen Woodzy do this live, and it's always the same effect. Just jaws on the floor.
It is good, isn't it?
Great.
He's got some lovely piano behind it. So I think, do you know what? I think we should jump on and hear it. So the episode 11 we had with Woodzy is the one we're going to hear now. And the piece we're going to hear is called Man Down.
corner but never in the ring. But now this is my calling, mental health, I'm answering, I'm in. Now you got me on the line, but never had me on the ropes. It's an uphill battle and I'm coping with the slopes. Taking more steps, making progress, I'm focused, I'm training all the time from being so stressed. Emotions just playing on my mind. I don't think that I'm depressed, but I know that I'm not happy. Just because I'm smiling on the outside doesn't mean inside that I'm not angry, because I am, and I do feel down. Sometimes I just want to scream and say it out loud, but you know what it's like, that's not allowed. You're a man, be proud, they'll be telling you man up, until they're screaming man down. Saying why didn't he speak up? Because you put the man down. Man down, man down, man down. Suicide is on the rise and they're surprised by the figures. Well, numbers don't lie like the smiles in your pictures. You've been soul searching till you're itching all the blisters. Put a filter on your feelings, see them leaving in the distance. Man down, man down, man down. Have you ever been down in the depths of a dark place? Where the silence is so loud you can hear your heart race. It's like you're in a car chase but the lights are on red. You partake in heartache, text sent left on red. Gone from missed out to missed calls to missing to I missed them. You can't put a filter on your feelings. Hear them screaming in the distance. Man down, man down, man down. Now I'm trying, I'm training, I'm taking my time, testing my brain and my body. I'm aiming for heights from the lows and I'm focused on goals, on my growth. So let's go and we'll grow and we'll learn. Turn it around, hear the sound of a smile in my voice when I'm speaking. For a while I was down, but never out, and now I'm proud of how I'm feeling. And now I'm breathing. This is more than boxing. This is more than sport. This is the fight against our mental health, and this is fighting talk. It's not always about the KO. It's about being okay. Sometimes you have to say no, we know it's gonna be okay. Speak to your friends. Trust me, it helps. It's not a bad thing to talk about how you felt. Fighting mental health, let's take our first steps. It's not about how many times you knock a man down, but all the times he gets up and prepares for what's next.
Amazing.
Wow. That is a fire piece of work.
It's an amazing poem, man.
I feel like
it really gets me. Every time I'm like bare emotional after, I've just got to deep it for a second, like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm ready in it.
like I really don't want to like overdo how much I like these pieces, but I love these pieces. So every time I'm like, that was amazing. It's hard to not feel like you're over-exaggerating the whole time, but
it's really, really good. I don't think you're biased. I think it's just good poems. That one especially is so moving, and the music is just awesome. Like the way that he's produced that is jaw-dropping, man. I love it. Yeah,
do you know what? He does a really good job of it, and I think what I really like about him is he brings a professionalism which we can all strive to. Like he's mastered his craft. There's no doubt about that. Like obviously he comes from a rap background, so in terms of lyrics and performance, like he's there, isn't he? I just think he's really, really great. Did you get a chance to listen to some of his Happy Place?
The EP is great. The EP is really, really good. He's got some great collaboration on there as well, which is a thing you love to see in the scene and that people do strive towards. But Woodzy's done an amazing job of just getting all of these awesome poets on his EP as well. It's just a real masterclass. It's something to aspire to, I think. Definitely. If I could rap or, had any knowledge of music, then maybe I could aspire to it.
It is weird though, isn't it? Because there's obviously a Venn diagram there, right? Between spoken word and rap. And Woodzy falls in the middle. I think I remember saying that on the show to him. But it is a similar skill, but obviously it is a bit different. And I don't know, to hit the niche the way that he does that well is cool.
I mean, there's this Poets Can Rap challenge going around on Instagram.
Did you do it?
I got tagged in it by the lovely Luna, who runs Luna Legacy, and I was like, babe, look, I love her very much, but well, come on. I don't have the world's most authentic rap voice, I don't think. So I politely bowed out, but who knows, maybe if the moment strikes me, I'll start penning my latest bars.
I did see, I got tagged by a couple of people. I think Ace tagged me, and who else did? Johnny Danger. And I probably should have done it because not saying I can rap. I can't. But I like to think I can.
Yeah. I know that I am certain in my ability that I could write and perform a rap. I just don't know if the world's ready for it. Exactly. That's why I've held off. Yeah.
Because I think that is the difference with rap, and it's something potentially on average us poets find quite hard to do, is typically you need a quite strong ego behind you to kind of like really deliver the performance with power. Like, not necessarily, but you need...
Yeah, I think ego. I think you need confidence in your voice, definitely.
A lot of confidence.
And look, I'm not lacking in confidence, Henry. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't know about the rapping. No, I think credit to all these poets and rappers who can dance between the two. And I think, of course, it's a Venn diagram, right? Like the lyricism in rap and the poetry in rap and vice versa is always a marvel and really nice to enjoy when you see it live.
It is. Yeah.
I just think I would hate to be constrained to the beat. I like to pause and let everyone laugh at my jokes and stand there like, "Yeah," and then go into the next part, and maybe I'll take a little sip of my drink. Whereas if in a rap, I'd be like speeds of sweat, like, oh, what's the next
You have
one?
a lot more freedom with spoken word. I think definitely as a writer you do. You know, you kind of said, you're not conformed to the beat. You're not kind of having to continuously keep going and wait for the chorus or whatever. You just like, you're right. You can react a bit more back and forth with the audience.
Yeah.
You can take things in, as you said, allow them to have their moment to giggle at your hilarity.
All that good stuff.
Which is probably maybe why, is it a bit easier? I don't know. Maybe it's a bit easier.
I don't think it's easier or harder. I just think they're two different crafts.
They are two very different crafts.
Take two different sets of skills, I would say.
They do. So the next poet that we had was episode 12. And this was with the wonderful, the gorgeous Jamie Merrick.
Oh, Jamie Merrick.
Damn. This man.
What a man. What a man.
What a man. Yeah.
He's such a top guy. I really like Jamie very much. Yeah.
He is. He's got a very good energy about him, right? And he's got
great vibes.
He's got good vibes and a fantastic beard. And
a fantastic beard, a fantastic sense of fashion. You know, look, do I want to be the man? Yeah, I want to be him. No, he's great. He's really good fun, and he's a really good example of proper like comedy poetry. I really like what he writes. Very, very. I always, without a doubt, laugh. Even if I've heard the poem before, I'm there. I'm actually looking forward to the lines I know, the punchline, so I can laugh again. Like, it's great.
No, and I think, in this episode, we're going to be listening to 5 different poems. And I think, again, like with open mics, like with the podcast, they vary so much, right? So, we've had from kind of Kyla's to Woodzy and now to Jamie's. They are 3 completely different styles. Yeah. But they all bring to them, something really unique. And what Jamie brings...
something you've done...
Sorry,
go on.
Well, I was just saying, what Jamie brings is this kind of... beautifying the bleakness of being a Brit. He just he just kind of paints the monotone with like illuminate that didn't make anything. Do you know what I mean? He makes things shine.
What you're saying.
That shouldn't
he
otherwise.
Makes the drab sexy. I think it's really good fun, and I like that, like you were saying earlier, the range of voices is something you've managed to curate really well, because you never know what to expect with Word Spoken. The next episode will arrive and you're like, oh wow, this guy, cool, okay, and then you get to learn all about them. I think that's cool, and I think Jamie was a good episode in that there hadn't really been a voice like his yet. Not that I don't think there's any 2 voices that have been the same, but it was a really unique take on the poetry scene and his sort of experience in it, so it was really interesting.
Yeah. No, I think it's true, and I think at an open mic night when you see him, like the same is true, right? He's a kind of he's a very unique person to have on the lineup.
Yes.
And do we all want to be him? Yeah.
I guess.
Right, look, let's stop blowing smoke up his ass. And
he's gonna hear this. I just thought that was
he's gonna be so smug, isn't he?
He's never gonna book me again.
Little bastard. So let's hear this wonderful piece about the lovely Isle of Wight, which he is slightly critical of.
Makes me want to visit. I don't know about you.
So this is Jamie Merrick with Down the Aisle.
Escape to the land of picturesque villages, sultry sunsets and silken sandy beaches. Swoon as the sun sinks into the sea, like a biscuit dipped into a tea. Discover the Isle of Wight, a sunny place for shady people. There's something odd happening down there. People ain't born proper. Windy promenades selling saucy postcards. Fun runs featuring substitute teachers dressed as Disney characters, where the prize for winning the race is a polished pint glass in the face. This seaside town will drag you down. From the bungalow to the bingo, there's never not a sports direct liquidation sale on, and the nightlife is lit. Lads and birds are up for it. They do anything except you, little introspective poet. One shite nightclub open till 3 is not worth the free entrance fee. The streets are paved with mould, and your brother continues to mess the bed. At 28 years old, we're going to get him all the help he needs. Just don't, for the love of fuck, let him breed. How long do you have to wait before it's too late to start living? A breath of fresh air would do you good in this frowning seaside town, where the fun fairs are unfun and unfair, and multi-pack lagers not to be sold separately are sold separately. Oh, vile Isle of Wight, face down you float like a corpse in a sea of salty misery, forgotten by most maps and most people's memory. Dreams' homes are packaged with trudging cabbages and shrugging marriages. Husbands despise their wives for corrupting their lives, while quarrels erupt with sharpened knives. Inbreeding is more popular than book reading, with curtain twitching, bitching, self-harming and pig farming also pretty prevalent. Adolescent mams with no knowledge of the pill push second-hand prams up a Sisyphean hill, and thank Christ for Instagram. Alana prolapses her lips into a pinkish pout and snaps an unhealthy amount of selfies. This little picky goes out to my cheeky followers. Felt cute, might delete later. Everything is stagnant, but nothing dies. Tinder sometimes works. Hi, I'm Jamie, Libra Scorpio cuspy. I enjoy laughing and I like my women bubbly. There's a phone party near the estate if you want to go. X is sex and excess, WKD blue. Plastic phones with polyphonic ringtones. Bland one-night stands above disused poundlands. Sometimes you're better off seducing your own right hand. We pray to God, but God hasn't answered our prayers, hasn't returned our calls, hasn't replied to the messages in the group chat. Even God is ghosting us. 2 blue ticks and no text back. Nothing is worse than that. Lads with smug mugs passed down from their dads trot the high streets, berating referees on screens in their counterfeit Jeremy Clarkson jeans. VIPs in their own heads, living like OAPs in their old beds. My darling hometown, it's hard to hatch in this squalid little patch. As the allure of the grave gets stronger, fresh fruit is well avoided for fear of living longer. The winding country roads may hug you, but the tracksuit bottom brutes will mug you. You need something vital to unplug you from this derivative narrative. You've left school with more STDs than GCSEs, and your girlfriend is spending your pension on lip injections. She'll take what she needs and will not bless you when you sneeze. Is this really what you bounced out the womb for? Having that haircut is bad for your health, and your doctor's advice is that you go fuck yourself. Eat some fruit and do him a favour. Check your own prostate or ask a neighbour. Stuck in the gusset of life. And I love you, Isle of Wight, but you weren't born right.
You weren't born right.
Oh, mate, what a fucking funny poem. I love that so much.
It's a delight to listen to be honest, isn't it?
It's really funny, man. It's good stuff. There's so many choice moments where you can just see it so vividly in front of you.
One of the, I mean, there's literally, I remember on the show, I was trying to pick out a couple of lines to, it's just, there are so many that jump out at you. You're right there. One of the ones is that, the streets are paved with mold. He really plays with the rhyming scheme there. He really bounces each sentence along, and I think the cadence just continually shifts and then slows down. And I love it.
Definitely, very cool. And the way he drawls out his vowels when he's being really scathing in it is just perfect. Yeah.
And then the line where she says, Lana prolapses her lips into a pinkish pout and then snaps an unhealthy amount of selfies.
So whenever we are at a show that I'm at, well, the last one I did with him before the virus, he changed it to Billy, and all of my friends in the audience were like, It was very, very good. A nice surprise.
Yes. No, that sounds a very him thing to do.
Yeah.
Did you? Am I right that you performed when he did the gig in Beyond Retro? Right? Was that right?
Yeah. That was a charity night for North London Action Against Homelessness. It was like a charity thing at Christmas. So yeah, he asked me to come along and do a little set, which was great fun. And a few other people we're going to be talking about today. Jamal was there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Jamie performed. So yeah, a lot of the Word Spoken family were there.
The Word Spoken. I unfortunately wasn't. I really wish I was. Yeah. I remember not being able to come. It sounded like it was really cool though.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Good laughs. Lots of funny people doing funny poems.
Funny things. Yeah, I feel also as a host, this is the last time we're gonna like praise his ass. But as a host, God. You know, he just has that kind of flailing arms energy. Yeah. It's quite infectious.
Yeah, he uploaded a video onto his Instagram page.
That's literally what I was thinking about,
Yeah, I so that was the night that he asked me to come along and perform at as well, another night, and the crowd were just silent. This video is him and this guy from a band, and they're sort of having a little tete-a-tete about, like, get off stage, you're done now. And Jamie handles it so well, but literally everyone in the audience was just like... mouths open, could not believe how funny it was. So yeah, it was all right. And that's the last nice thing I'll say about him.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Now let's just say one last thing. What a dick, right? Let's just say
what a dick.
Okay, so the next poet, right, was Jamal Hassan.
Yes, the amazing Jamal.
What a wonderful
Kid and Nancy.
Man. Kid and Nancy, yes, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Again, another really... Often I've seen him many times, and he's really a funny poet as well. I think he has the kind of aura and the vibe of a kind of stand-up
very much
comedian
so.
in a way.
Very much so.
And I really like his stuff. And the poem we're going to hear, I've seen him do a couple of times, and whoa, there's a bit in the middle, which I know you'll know which bit it is, where it's kind of like, yo.
Oh, that's where this is going. Okay. Yeah. Buckle up.
No, but he's a real talent. And I've seen as well, he's been putting, during this lockdown, I've seen on Instagram that he's been kind of trying his best to put his stuff to music and like looping music and building it up. And I remember him speaking about it after the show. So it'd be really cool to see what he does with that.
Yeah, it's this thing of all these bloody poets being really creative during lockdown that is just killing me. I see all these people having like all this, amazing inspiration, and I'm sat here playing Lego Jurassic Park on my arse for the 4th day in a row, just like, why am I not inspired?
Yeah, it's tough. Sarah Callahan's been learning the piano. She's been jamming out.
Yeah.
There's definitely a couple of people. Yeah, so get off that Lego.
Give it a rest. Yeah, I've got to stop playing. It's addictive.
So what I was going to say is, in terms of, so I know now he's kind of putting stuff to music. The poem we're going to hear isn't to music, but have you played or toyed around with putting your stuff to music, or is that something you haven't thought about?
I've definitely given it a lot of thought, and it's something I'm quite interested in doing. I think it takes a little bit of confidence, definitely, and it takes a bit of time and care and attention, but it's something that I think can really lift a poem, like we've heard with Woodzy's Man Down, when that chorus sort of, it sort of crescendos into this amazing... all the strings and stuff. It just really adds another layer to your poem, I think it was Tyrone Lewis that was like, what are you doing with your poetry to make it commercial? What are you doing with it? And I think a lot of people are really finding that niche and doing it really, really well. So hopefully I can figure something out. But
I think it's definitely worth trying for everyone, really. I think for some people it won't work. Like there's definitely, it's not something which everyone will find adds to their work, because I think you have to be careful for it not to take away from your art form, right? Because there is, it's teetering to the world of rap here, isn't it? So you're a bit more constrained, perhaps. And if your style doesn't work with that, I don't know. Maybe it's not for everyone, is it?
I think it's doing it in a way that seems authentic to you, not just sticking a beat over your voice that doesn't fit and doesn't match, and that you're not, that you're just trying to be commercial. I think it's about thinking about what that piece means to you, the music that you sort of feel within the piece, and then finding someone that collaborate with that sort of all comes together for. So it's a process, definitely. You've got to be...
in this kind of lockdown time, I've been listening quite a lot to Kate Tempest's album.
Oh, yeah.
And that fire smoke track is just
Queen.
endlessly captivating for me. I love it.
She's cool.
I just think the kind of piano in the back. What I really love about her kind of music is, if you strip away the elements to it, it's actually relatively simple. Like she makes it sound unique. The like production's really cool, but in that fire smoke track, like those 3 chords, dun dun dun, like four chords. It's really simple, but it sounds really unique, and the production's epic, and her vocals on that are just
awesome.
She's amazing.
Yeah, it's knowing when to strip back and knowing when to pump the gas and all of that sort of stuff. I think, she's done it really well. Obviously, she's doing it at this like uber professional, best in her game kind of level. So me, little quiet poet in my flat in Balham, might not have the same sort of levels of production, but like she's obviously just doing it amazingly. Yeah.
I didn't know. I was watching her in an interview the other day, and she went to Brit school. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Did she?
Yeah, she went to Brit school when she was younger.
There you go.
So
yeah.
she learned.
I think I mentioned that to my mum once. I was like, oh, maybe I could go to the Brit school, and she was like, yeah, maybe.
Shot
go do
it
your
down,
science GCSEs. Yeah, off you go.
Sure. Okay, cool. So let's jump in and hear Jamal's poem. So this is a poem called The Orgy. And I think the title speaks for itself. It's a really funny poem. It kind of shows his personality and his humour, but also his skill.
Absolutely.
So I think everyone's going to really like it. So let's jump in and hear it. This is Jamal Hassan with The Orgy.
Awesome.
My girlfriend loves me in more than 1,000 ways. So imagine my surprise when it came to my birthday and she told me there was another present up her sleeve. She led me to the bedroom for the gift I was to receive, and opening the door, I saw a sight that I could scarcely believe. There were 5 Harley Quinn cosplayers, 4 Shia LaBeouf impersonators, 3 anonymous masturbators, just to add to the ambiance, 2 nude paramedics so we wouldn't need an ambulance, and all that remained was her and me. She had organized us an orgy, the good kind of clusterfuck. She even organized and cooked up a buffet table, and I couldn't believe my luck. So I disrobed and licked my lips because I was in the mood, that is, for food. So I started on the deviled eggs and then onto the canapes, which upset some of the guests, but what can I say? There was a smorgasbord of food and it was free. I'll admit, I kissed a panini passionately, making them think I'd gone batshit crazy, but I don't understand why they felt so confused and flummoxed. After all, the best way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Was it because I romanced the pizza slice? Or because I went balls deep in a bowl of rice? For you see, I really do love food. With me, it's a slippery slope. All fun and games till someone fucks a cantaloupe. But I did try returning to the orgy after I ate. But what happened next was a fate that I wouldn't even wish on war criminals or Taylor Swift, because the room was a desert and I was a fish. Empty, dry and barren, with me all alone, save for a desecrated buffet table with all of its contents thoroughly boned. Do they leave because they felt ignored? Because food is as good, if not better, than sex? Was I unappreciative to their needs? Did my privilege go unchecked? Is it because we have differing ideas of fun? Or is it because I turned a jam donut into a glazed one? I simply cannot help it when there is food abound. My soul dances and my heart sings when it's around. But it's because of behavior like this why I cannot have nice things. My passion for food overrides my body from the hairs on my skin to my very, very core. Small wonder I don't get any invites to tea parties with cakes and scones anymore. I suppose, in the end, I should just learn some self-control. Otherwise, one day, my problem will swallow me whole.
Jamal Hassan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That is a poem.
That
It's
is
so visceral. All of the food, just doing stuff food shouldn't be doing, is awesome.
What I love about this piece is when he performs it live, you can see the like side of his mouth starts to grin. He really enjoys the shock value of it.
Yeah,
he relishes
awesome
in it.
Example of it's a real proper twist in a poem, because you think it's going to be like a racy poem about an orgy. Like you're like, oh fine, cool, yeah, I'll buckle. What? Like
All
now
about
he's
food.
fucking a bowl of rice.
And I went
like,
balls
okay,
deep in a bowl of rice. It's great.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
And then I remember we had this conversation on the show because did put Taylor Swift into the same box as war criminals. Which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, and look, he said what he said.
She hasn't responded yet. I'm sure she will.
She will. She's got somewhere. She's going to have some sort of proof that Jamal didn't ask her to say that on the track or something like that.
Imagine if she sues him or something.
Yeah.
And then that classic line, I turn a jam donut into a glazed
one. Oh.
That's a real moment when he does that at an open mic and the room just goes,
oh, yeah. But that's what you want poetry to do. You want poetry to make you go, oh.
It's brilliant.
And, it's really, really funny.
Yeah, he is a fantastic poet. He has his own night, Extra Second London. Obviously not happening now, but it will be coming back. Have you ever gone to that? I never got around to that. I've not been, but I was asked to come and feature, and it was the one that got cancelled at the first sign of lockdown. So I was gutted to miss out because I've really wanted to go for the longest. And so hopefully when this is all over, then we'll be back in action. But I can't wait. What he does with that night is he says, so they have a theme to each night. Yeah. And after the performances, after the feature sets, everyone sits down in like circles and they discuss the theme, which I thought was really cool. Like every open mic night has to, and this actually is going to come on to what we're going to speak about next, but every open mic night has to kind of have, I think, its own USP. It's USP, right? And what makes it unique and what makes people want to kind of come back to it. And that, I think that's a really cool one. I haven't heard of that.
No, it sort of forces you to actually engage with what they're trying to discuss. So it's like, I think they've had themes of like all sorts of themes that you sort of wouldn't really talk about in a circle full of maybe strangers. So I think it's a really nice way to encourage people to open up and discuss, and
it must be interesting. I really want to go when it's back up. I'm there. Extra Second London. I think the Instagram is Extra Second and then LDN. I think. Yeah. Kind of like the whole Fisky and Mind Over Matter. LDN gang.
LDN's pretty standard. I think. I definitely refer to London as LDN. More often than
not. Talking of open mics, we've got something in the pipeline, don't we?
Do we? I don't know, Henry. I'm being coy.
We do.
Yes, we have something in the pipeline.
Yes. Myself, you, and A's.
Yeah, the dream team.
The dream team. I think, I'm so excited, and I think when this lockdown ends, blah, 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 people can be in the same room as each other and not wear, whatever. Open mics are going to go crazy.
Yes,
they're going to go mental. They're going to be so busy. Everyone's been writing, mostly. Everyone's not been going to open mics.
That, Henry.
Everyone apart from you has been writing. But everyone, has had this time off, had this time to maybe think about their creative process, what they want to do, and it's going to all be unleashed. I can sense it.
I just can't wait. Everyone is starving hungry for live poetry. I can feel it in the air. Yeah. But more so than not that, it's like everyone's got this new joie de vivre. I think when this is over, there's not going to be any more, oh, I'm tired, I think I'll skip tonight. Everyone is going to be engaged. They're going to it's like a cultural reset, We'll all be sat in our home offices, never having to go to work again. This is in my dreamland, by the way. We'll have all the time in the world for these creative pursuits, or at least we'll feel like we did. Whereas previously, I think everyone was quite bogged down. Oh, there's a night on every night of the week. I'm tired, blah, blah. And now I'm like, there was a night on every night of the week. And there were nights I went home and ate pasta on my own. Like, what the fuck was I thinking?
You're right.
So, it's nice to sort of have that reset and re-engage with things. I think it'll be really exciting.
Yeah. Do you know what I like? I'm so excited. And I think, it's going to be a word spoken open mic. We're going to involve the podcast somehow. So essentially the winner from like an audience vote will have their performance played out on the podcast. Hopefully people are going to really like it. And I think each of us three are going to bring something different to the team. And I'm just...
I think so. I think it's like I'm really excited imagining it, and I think it will be really good fun. And I think, like you said, having this podcast tied to it, people are already fans of the podcast, and they listen and they enjoy it. And you can tell from the response you had from your open mic submissions that people are keen to be a part of it and want to join in the fun and be have their poems on the podcast. So what better way than to compete for it. I think that adds a little element of spice. And I think, you know, if you don't want to compete, you don't have to compete.
Of
and
course.
it would just all be really great vibes with 3 of the hottest young poets in the scene.
If only.
If only. But no, it will be, I think, a really good laugh, and I'm proper excited to get it all kicked off.
So am I. Okay, cool. So let's speak about the last poet that we're going to speak about in this section. And this is the wonderful, the very talented, the highly acclaimed, let's just get this out, published poet.
Titles, give him his titles.
I can't think of any other titles. He's a video editor by trade. It's Tyrone Lewis.
Yeah. What a guy.
Yeah, and again, a very talented guy. He has his book out,
Really
which is called Blackish, which I urge people to go and buy. Not physically.
Support artists.
Yeah, support artists, yes. And he's great, isn't he? Again.
His episode was like a how-to on how to, you know, follow your dreams and become like, he was like, look, I don't do it full time, so I don't have a horse in this race, but if I were you know, this is how I got my book deal, here's how I went on a tour, here's how blah blah. It was, I honestly listened to it like, oh my god, turn the page, make notes, like it was
you're right.
really, really good. And he's someone that's does it for the love of it and has been doing it for such a long time and has such interesting perspective on the scene.
Yeah, he does.
It was a real pleasure to listen to that.
No, you're right. And I think, as you kind of mentioned there, because he's been doing this for about 14 years, or he was at the time recording, he does know a lot about the scene. He knows what works and what doesn't work. He's been meeting people in the scene for all of that time. And yeah, you're right. He has a different insight to it. Like most of the other people that have been on the show in terms of years have been doing it significantly less than he has.
Yeah, definitely.
And so he really did have a lot to say. I remember kind of asking him questions, throwing stuff up, and sat there like soaking oil in, like, yeah,
he's really knowledgeable, and I really I enjoyed that he's, you know, he's funny with it and he's interesting and he's engaged, but also like his poetry is just all, it's like he's managed to, you don't see a lot of people, especially at open mic nights, who have been doing it for 14 years. And I think is that, I don't know why that might be, but I guess maybe because people get a bit jaded by it, or, you know, stop being as engaged after they've been doing it for years and years and years, or expect some sort of progression, so don't go to the open mics. But I see Tyrone at open mics all the time. He's really fun, and like, you know, like, I just love that it's like obviously something he really loves and is passionate about, and it really comes across.
It does.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Look, I think we should jump on here. This is a wonderful poem. We're going to end on a bit of a kind of tearjerker, like lovely piece. It's called Mum Poem. It is about his mum. So should we hear it?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
great.
Please.
So the final poem we're going to hear on this part 3 of the recap sessions is Tyrone Lewis with Mum Poem.
This one's about me and my mum. She taught me sarcasm before she taught me how to walk. Made sure I knew I was a Tottenham fan before I knew my times table, and she showed me Star Wars before she showed me how to dress. And my mother has a TARDIS heart. It may not look like much on the outside, but best believe it's bigger on the inside. I have lost myself down its hallways for all the space and time. I still keep finding new doors to explore. And I'm sorry, Falcor, but my mum's love is more never-ending than your story. It's more unbreakable than your movie, M. Night, and it's serving more realness than any look I've seen on the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race. You could easily be fooled into thinking her heart has never been broken. I know it skipped a couple of beats in high school, but I think all those crushes did was soften it. I know it's got a lot of love for Idris and Denzel and a bit of Will and all of Adrian Lester, but I don't know if my father was the first she let into it. Maybe he helped her fix it. Held it in place up until the divorce, but after that I expect there must have been a couple of cracks, though I've never seen any fragments of it strewn across our living room floor. No stray shards have fallen into any of our dinners. If there were any pieces missing, she's kept them well hidden. Just between all of us, I think my mum was a magician. She had me believing she was 27 till I was 11, kept appearing and reappearing at all of my football matches, all my poetry nights. Scratch that. My mum's a superhero, strong enough to carry me and all of my fuck-ups on one hand, whilst breaking down every obstacle in front of her with the other. She doesn't need any spandex, but Kevin Feige is currently working on producing her Marvel standalone film. Scratch that. My mother is a wrestler and just surpassed Asuka and Goldberg for the longest undefeated streak in WWE history, because I have seen her hurt, but I've never seen her beaten. Scratch that. My mum would beat your mum. Scratch that. My mum would beat your dad. Scratch that. My mum's a scratch that. My mum scratch that. My record scratch. And my mother has a TARDIS heart. It may not look like much on the outside, but best believe it's bigger than the love that she receives. And I am trying to make up for it. But I'm too busy being shit. I keep spending my nights swimming in Stella to avoid going home. I keep messing up my life knowing that she will always be there to clean it up. I keep trying to buy smiles, ignoring the ones that she gives me for free, and I am agreeing with Elton John and Blue because there's a word that I need to say to her, but it seems so hard right now, so instead, here's this poem. This one's for me and my mum.
So that was Tyrone Lewis with Mum Poem.
My
Thoughts?
heart. That just makes my heart swell. I love it. His mum, the story he tells before he did it in the episode, where he said that he wrote all of the slam poems for the slam, and then his mum was in the audience. It's just like, it's like a movie. I love it. Yeah, it's a really lovely piece.
Yeah, it's. I think, you know, people sometimes write about their parents. I did recently, and
you did, and it was so good, Henry. That poem gave me all the feelings in my heart.
It was. It's something that I actually didn't show to my mum for a little while, and I don't really know why. I never got round to it. Like, she was meant to come over for the weekend, and then she couldn't because of all this.
Yeah.
So I was going to do it then, but it's very intense writing about something like that.
I think it must be. I've never done a poem about my mum, and she's asked me about it. She's like, "Where's my poem?" And I'm like, Mummy, I don't have the words. Like, I love you so, I don't know what to say. I love you so much. So yeah. I think more power to people who can take all of that emotion and feeling and put it into something so succinct and also heartfelt. Your mums are very lucky, both yours and Tyrone's. Sorry, Mum, if you're listening, which you probably will be because you're my number one fan. I'm very sorry.
Sorry, Mum. Hashtag sorry, Mum.
Yeah.
Well, look, that brings this part 3 to a close. It's been a wonderful episode. Like, I've enjoyed it so much. We've had Kyla Winter, Woodzy, Jamie, Merrick, Jamal, Hassan, and Tyrone Lewis.
What a lineup.
It's been a lot of fun, hasn't it? I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me to chat about these awesome people.
You're more than welcome. So look, we are gonna have, of course, a part 4 where we finish off season 1. So stay where you are, everybody. It will be out next week. So I just want to say for this week, Billie, thank you so much for joining me. I've enjoyed it.
My pleasure. I've loved it. Thank you for having me. You're the best host in the world, and I say that completely unbiasedly. It's been a joy and a pleasure.
Okay, brilliant. Well, look, we'll say a little goodbye to everyone here. We'll see everyone next week. Thank you, Billie. Thank you for listening. See you all next week.